All right, welcome to episode 5 of MTD the Podcast. Co-hosts Brendan and Colin McNamara. C-Mac tapping in from Worcester. It's back out at school, so
Out at the Woo.
changing locations, and we got a special guest, Dana Barry, here today. Dana, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
Doing. So Dana, start just talk a little bit about yourself, your background, where you grew up, what you're doing now, and all that.
So originally from Central Mass, out by Marlboro. A lot of people like Eastern Mass people. That's all Western Mass, so you guys don't know where that is. Actually, I'm from Hudson, so it's probably like 15 minutes away from Colin. But played 3 sports growing up. Been a big sports family, so obviously I had to kind of go that route. Originally was originally going to school for criminal justice, but I ended up tearing my ACL and started doing like the rehab process. So like that's what kind of really got me in the gym. Then I fucking did my internship at Athletic Evolution and then been there ever since.
Yeah. The story keeps going.
You think if you didn't tear your ACL, you wouldn't be a trainer?
Honestly, yeah. Because I was full go on like border patrol, like trying to do stuff like that. And then I actually like one summer kind of spent my whole summer in like a PT room. And like the guy was mad cool. Like he worked with athletes and shit. So I kind of like fell in love with the process. And then the whole summer I literally was in the pool PT room, like just doing rehab exercises. So I got on that road and then switched my major at school in history. Oh yeah.
Wow. So what's so I guess why now do you love working with athletes? What drew you to that, besides like once you figured out that's what you wanted, what has kind of kept you in that field?
So like all growing up, whole family, all our cousins, everyone, we all played sports growing up. When we got together, we all played sports. So like just like that atmosphere, the camaraderie of like the team, like you can't beat that. I can't sit 9 to 5 at a desk and my attention span would be going out the roof. You know, that's just, I got to be in that atmosphere.
That's fair. So I guess now, so specifically, what do you do, just so everyone, just so the viewer knows exactly what you.
So strength and conditioning coach with a specialty in linear speed development. I work with NFL combine guys, NBA guys when they come back, college athletes, high school athletes. Not too much the gen pop, just because I kind of just drifted away from that. But yeah, kind of with kids in the weight room doing plyometrics, lifting, cleans, as you know, get after, we're getting explosive.
Yeah, I see it. I see it on a day-to-day basis. So it's good stuff. So I guess this question that very open-ended, but I guess working with so many athletes, obviously all different levels, what is the most satisfying part of that process?
No lie, when a kid catches an offer. That's like, hey, like that shit hits me like in the heart. Like I literally watched this kid like blood, sweat, and tears. And that first offer, like the text message I get, like exclamation points out the wazoo. Like, hey, that's rewarding for me. That's when it all pays off.
It's like so it feels like you got the offer too.
Hey, literally, like I'm there right with you grinding. Like obviously you're doing all the work, but like I watch you go through the whole process. I help you through the whole process. And like when you like after you get like a couple, you kind of like simmer down. But that first offer, hey, you just realize you help a kid achieve their dreams. So it's like there's no better feeling in the world than that. Like some kids send me a whole entire text, be a big paragraph, all capitals. And like, dude, no one uses all capitals. So it's like, truly how excited that person is.
Changes someone's life, Some people get those
offers. I don't really have the opportunity when I was younger. So like I kind of try and fill that role of what I didn't have. Because like not too many people, like obviously people are starting to come up now, but not too many people are guiding kids like through sports and like how to go to college and like the recruiting process. So like when they really see everything that they just did unfold, like it's craziest feeling. Especially So this past year with like COVID and everything, no one played. So for kids that's like still got the scholarships, it's a blessing.
So for people who don't have like athletic trainers at their expense, like what's the benefit of having a trainer as opposed to just kind of working out on your own?
I'd say most importantly, like the education behind it, like the why you're doing something, like actually having a script to go through. Like some people I know, like they'll just go to the gym and just do bench press, push-ups, like all chest exercises. It's like do more functional movements, not just like the bodybuilding movements. Like it's like the guidance, the prep work, everything along that. Like you can obviously research it and kind of have a general idea of like what it is. But like this is why we all went to school for this. So like we know, like we can translate it. So instead of you reading a massive bio book, like we can just translate it so you can relate to it, so you don't have to go through all the crazy nonsense of trying to understand like what's going on.
Yeah, so you just simplify. So it just simplifies it for the athlete.
Because like if you have no interest in like the human body or anything like that, this shit is gibberish. Like it's gibberish to some people. So it's like you gotta try and help like simplify it.
Yeah.
How was that learning process? Learning, like going through studying that, like the movements, the human body.
If you like it, that shit's fun. Like I thoroughly, just because playing sports and shit, like I thoroughly enjoy it because like I know like the benefits that it has, like, and I've seen myself have them. I've seen athletes have them. So like to me, it's fun. But if you don't actually like it, that shit's like, it's hard to keep the motivation going for it.
All right, so I warned you probably about last week that this question was coming. So I gotta ask, because I see you quite a bit. I see you in the morning, I see you in the afternoon. I've seen you probably about, probably 70 days in the last, I don't know how many months. A lot. I've seen you quite a bit. And I can see when you turn it on, you're always on, but like there's certainly a different
pep to my step.
Yeah, you know. So question is, at what point do you take an athlete or a group, because there's obviously groups that come into AE, seriously? And I've mentioned this quote, Tim Grover, MJ and Kobe's trainer. He said, until you show up 3 days in a row, I don't take you seriously, because first day your leg's gonna hurt, second day your chest's gonna hurt, third day everything's gonna hurt. Are you still gonna show up?
Everything's hurting on that third day.
Right.
So I got a couple ways. Honestly, like more like consistency, bro, you got me right there. Like if you show up every day, you don't complain, nothing, you got me right there. But if I put you through like a hell workout and the plate pushes, you went through that. If I put you through that and you come back, you got me right there. Like if I try and break you and you bend but don't break, you got my respect right away. But like if I have these kids that come in every day, they'll just complain. Oh, this is sore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It's like why are you here then? Like if you don't want to be doing this, like what are you doing? You're just like wasting your own time. And like I personally hate like individuals like that. Like if you don't want to do something, like you're just going through the motions, like what are you really actually doing? Like go do something else. But like I think those are the two biggest things: consistency. And if I put you through a hell workout and you come back swinging, you got me right there. I could care less about like the weights, like who's strongest. Like that doesn't impress me at all. Obviously, if like you got some like freak of nature that comes in, they're cleaning like 405, it's like, all right, well, that's impressive. But like those are the two big things: consistency and bend but don't break.
Do you like when you get somebody new that you start training, are you like, let me test this guy, let me see like how far I can push him right off the bat?
Depending on so we call it like their weight room experience. Like depending on if this kid's never been in a weight room, not really in the best shape, like obviously I'm not killing him that day. I need to see how he moves first and kind of like how his body's going. But like if I get, so here's a funny story. So I had this kid come up to me. He's actually at LSU right now. He came up with my guy Lewis, And Lewis was gassing him up. He's like, this is the number 3 corner in the country. Like, this kid's the real deal. And I said, I'm going to test this kid as hard as I possibly can. Hey, and he's one of those situations for probably about 10 days. It was just grind, like bend but don't break. And he just kept coming back. Like, he had moments where he was like done, but he would come back and show up the next day. So it all depends on who I'm with. Like, if I have a top level athlete, depending on their sport and like their position and everything, like I'm going to push them a little bit more to see really what they're about. Because you can get a top level athlete. I had a kid, I actually stopped training him because this kid thought he was God's gift to earth and just kind of presented himself that way. But like, if I have a kid that's willing to get after it, like, I'm going to push him.
Those are your type of people, the grinders.
Blue collar, we're up in Boston. We gotta support the home
the only
state.
way. It's the only way.
It's the only way massholes know how to do it.
That's right. So I guess then or going from there, what's the best advice you could then give an athlete trying to master their craft? Obviously there's parts of, having some guidance such as a trainer and whatnot, but just the baseline stuff that kind of can separate an athlete.
I'd say the attention and detail. Like, that's really key. Like, if you're just going like, it's like basically breaking it down like muscle memory. Like, if you're just doing shitty reps, like, your body just knows how to do shitty reps. So like, you're not really going to maximize your potential. But if your attention and detail to form actual muscles you're moving, the movement patterns that you're doing, how it translates to your sport, and so on and so on. Like, if you pay attention to that, you'll see the craziest increases in your athleticism, your performance, everything. Because the technique is what gets you places. It's not, if you quarter squat 400 pounds, you're really not really that powerful. You're just kind of half-assing, like going through like a quarter of the motion. But like, if you work on your depth, get good depth, and actually get a good squat, like, you're going to develop way more power. So it's like someone's attention to detail is really, really what's going to separate them. I actually have that quote in my bio on IG. Attention to detail separates the good from the great.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So would you say that's kind of like a main reason why having a trainer is beneficial? You guys kind of more like power towards attention to detail. You guys know the ins and outs of exercises, and you can critique people.
I mean, and I've seen this a lot, like some trainers are just kind of giving you the exercise and not really like paying attention. Like, B, you can even attest for this. Like, I'm watching every step you take, every inch you move, like, until it's the way I want it to be. And then like, I can kind of trust you to like, that's how you're supposed to be moving. Yeah. And if I see you doing something else, like, I know I'm going to call you out right away and make sure you do it correctly.
Right.
So like, some people don't do that, but some people I know, they just kind of give exercises, and like, those are like the IG trainers. You know what I'm saying? Like, those guys just out there giving exercises and like just posting that shit. But I'm like, dude, like, dude's doing a deadlift, his back's rounded, like his knees are caving in. I'm like, what? You shouldn't be doing that weight.
Oh yeah. So then perfect to I keep fucking up that transition. So then what separates you from other trainers? Because I'll be the first to say I think you're as good as it gets. I call you sensei. He's the master.
I would honestly
teacher.
say like my attention to detail. Bro, like I've had, so especially with combine training, like that's really my like bread and butter. I've had some of my combine guys, like I've sent them videos at like 1 a.m. Yo, you're fucking up this step right here. And I'll just get a response back, like, go to bed. But like, that's really where like I actually physically lose sleep some days just because I'm trying to get someone to move a specific way. And like, I'm trying to figure out how their body, like I can get them to understand full extension or arm movement or something like that.
Wow.
That's when they say like, 10,000 hours. Now I'm a master with it. Philly G.
Philly G, yeah. Our latest guest. Yeah. It's one of his bars.
Yeah, they say you master your craft with 10,000 hours. And if you're working overtime like that, You're definitely coming close. How long have you been a trainer for?
So I've been at AE for 6 years, and then when I was in college, I kind of helped out with some of the teams. But
And where did you go to school? Where did you study?
Worcester State.
Worcester State. Oh, nice, right down the street.
So I was out in the Woo. Yep. Where are you at right now?
I'm at my apartment in Worcester, right next to WPI.
You at WPI?
Yeah,
Okay.
right by Elm Park.
I used to live up by Assumption.
No way.
I know that area. Oh yeah.
What is it? Rotation Lane? Coming. You know, people who don't know the Woo hate on it.
Oh, yeah. They don't know Worcester. It's a different mentality to live there.
It is. It's gritty. It's pretty gritty for sure.
Oh yeah.
So what's the we obviously Colin and I are in there often, and before Colin was there, I was getting it in with the same time as like Tarb guys. But what's the benefit of working out early in the morning? Obviously it's tough to get up, especially consistently, but you're there every set Wednesdays, but every morning
Wednesday I sleep in a little bit.
Every morning at like 5:30, and you got a group of guys always in there, college, high schoolers. What's the benefit of that? Because there's guys who are just, lazy and, don't.
I think, honestly, for me, it kind of helps start your day. Like half the time people are getting out of the gym, like after we finish those workouts, 7:15. Like you ain't even rolling out of bed yet. It's like you already got your workout in, you got after it, you got your heart rate up. You did what you're supposed to do, and then now you got the rest of your day. You don't got to worry about, I got to get to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of get it out of the way there. But honestly, I look at it more as like a mentality. Like, can you be consistent and wake up at that time and go work out with a group of guys and get after it and actually have a good intensity? It's like I make sure I try and keep the intensity level up, just because how bad do these kids want it? Especially with like when the Harvard kids were there, they knew they were jogging every station they had. Like they wanted a season, they wanted to be prepared for that season. So like I kind of took some younger guys, put them in that group, and then like, see, like this is the mentality you guys got to have to kind of transition them. See that word be? Yeah, transition them into actually like going into that college level and like being in that same like atmosphere.
Yeah,
like I think it's a good mentality to have. Like wake up, get after it, get your day started. You feel way better after you work out.
Definitely.
That's a fact.
It's always ass getting like rolling out of bed, getting out of bed for that first like 5-10 minutes sucks. Once you're up though, you're like, damn, thank God I got my ass out of bed.
Hey, you're thankful after you get up, but like, dude, I have those mornings so like I hit that snooze probably 2 to 3 times. Like, damn, my girlfriend actually, she hates me because I gotta set 3 alarms. I have to. She's like, get up after 1. I'm like, no, like this shit sucks. Like this shit's hard. And I've been doing this shit since like end of April, and I've 5:30 every day besides obviously Wednesday. But that shit's a grind. Like some days it's tough. Some days I get up and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
It's
like you said, it's all about consistency.
Yeah. Put in you guys said, put in the hours, and I'm a strong believer in karma. It's like I'm putting in the hours, I'm doing my deed, I'm getting up, helping these kids out. Like obviously I'm hoping it pays off in the long run. More scholarships, it's better for me.
Yeah, no doubt. So you're obviously been at AE for, sorry, you had said how long?
6 years.
6 years. So is there what's like the next step for you? You see longer term, obviously, that's in the future, but is there like would you want to work with a pro team or, start your own join up? Or
you getting a Dana training?
I'll give you a sneak preview. First off, I have no intentions on ever going to like colleges or like going to be a pro team. Like I like seeing different sports. I like seeing different age groups. Like I don't want to be stuck with the same kids. But I actually am. I'm going down south and opening up my own spot down there. I got a few things I gotta line up first, but that's the move, and you heard it here first. So
wow, when's that coming?
I got I'm going down in April to look at a couple facilities. I'm going to meet with the company that's going to design the entire layout and everything like that. And based on where COVID's going, COVID's fucking everything up and it's pissing me off. But like, obviously you got to do what you got to do.
Definitely. How long have you always had a vision, like since you started athletic training, that my goal is to open up my own facility one day? Like what has been your goals, like an aspiration, since you kind of followed this path of being a trainer?
So like right away, I like had an idea, but like I didn't really know where I was going. Like one guy who kind of took me in when I first got there, his name is Matt Ibrahim. He came up to me. He's like, what's your specialty? Like what are you actually trying to do in this field? And I never really heard that before. So like that's when I really started thinking. I'm like, damn, like what am I really trying to do? Like what's my goal here? So then I started breaking in, like no one really teaches speed. Like I did track growing up, and like I kind of had a niche for that. So like I'm like, then I got into the combine training, and then I was like, damn, like you can actually make some serious money doing combine training. And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, I don't want to work for someone the rest of my life. Like that's not, everyone obviously wants to be their own boss. So then I started looking, I'm like, all right, so maybe I'll start opening up my own spot, like focus on speed and combine training. And then I have a couple people that live actually down in Georgia, and they're like, dude, like there's not really too many gyms down here and it's real cheap to live. I'm like, all right, like maybe I start making this move. And then a couple older guys that I know, they always asked to try and be an investor. And I'm like, I'm not really I don't know if I'm going down that road, but they kept pushing it. And they're like, you should really open up your own spot. So like everything kind of drifted like towards me having my own spot.
All right, looks like I'm gonna be flying down south every morning. Get back for class.
quick fly down the night before. I'll send you home.
At some point I will most certainly be down there to see what's popping. I'm sure
100%.
It's gonna be
right outside Atlanta.
It's gonna be the spot. Area. Yeah, it's gonna be the spot real soon.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's some big news for sure. I don't know.
AE's
gonna be a little empty, but we'll see. Still plenty of time.
Oh, plenty of time.
But just to go back to when we were talking about early mornings, I know you touched on like how some mornings it sucks to get up, you're struggling, and others, you're hitting the snooze button, others you're getting right up. So what's keeping you from sleeping in? Like what's getting you up every morning?
It's not about me. It's about the kids showing up. So it's like I show them, oh, just sleep through your workout, shit like that. Like, what's stopping them from them doing that? Like, a lot of these kids actually, like, they really, like, look up to me and, like, kind of how I present myself. So it's like, if I fuck up and I slip up, like, why do they still have to keep going, It's like, there's a picture, I think went viral a couple of days ago. It's basically like, it has a picture of a boss on top and then a leader on the bottom. The boss is sitting behind the desk, like, cracking the whip. And then the leader is out in front. And like, I've always considered myself like, I'm not always like a vocal leader, but like, I'll always lead by example. Like if I'm showing up and I'm 28 years old and I'm not even doing this shit for a sport, like, why can't you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think is like a best trait to have as a leader? Like what's the best type of leader in your eyes?
Like practice what you preach.
Okay.
Like you can't try and tell someone they have to work out this like this and this, and then like you're not even doing those movements. Like you see it all the time. Like you see these like heavier guys and they're trying to teach plyometrics. And it's like this guy was a bodybuilder his whole life and he's trying to teach like bounding and like different complicated plyometrics like that. And it's like, how can you teach that and like demo that and make sure the athlete's doing it correctly if you don't do it and you don't practice it and you're not in there actually putting the hours? Like every program I've ever given someone, I go through it before myself. So like I'm always 3-4 months ahead of where everyone else is doing. So like my combine guys who are coming in the spring for their, hopefully we have camps and shit in the summer, but like I've already done all those movements that I'm doing for them. I've done the lifts, I've put in the time. Like I know what it feels like to go through those lifts. I know what it feels like to do those movements, so I can make sure like everyone's doing it correctly, feeling the right muscle groups that they're supposed to be using, not being injured. Right. So I mean, if you practice what you preach, I feel like you should shine.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
So then what would be the hardest part of your job then? Like there's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of reward in being a trainer, just seeing athletes shine, but what's the hardest, most frustrating, any of those things?
I would say going through the process with someone. So like I had a kid, he's going to Cornell, but like he'd have weeks where like he wouldn't hit his weights and like hit the numbers that he was trying to hit. And like you can see the frustration, like he's punching the seat, like freaking out. And it's like, how do you keep someone like on the right path? Like I feel like that's the hardest part, but it's also sometimes most rewarding. Like keeping someone on the right path and believing in and trusting the process and going through it instead of just giving up. Like I've seen many kids give up just because, they didn't bench 225 for 25 times. Like, first off, look at some of your goals and like make sure they're realistic. But like going through the process and making sure someone trusts the process, I think that's probably the hardest thing to do. Because everyone, when they start off, everyone's about it. That's the easiest shit you can ever do. No one, that's not hard. But especially like during COVID, 8 months of training. How do you get that same person to be like, all right, this is still beneficial? Like I've been busting my ass. Like, how am I going to get any better? So it's like keeping people on track is probably the hardest.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
you just said like trusting the process, and I think like one thing that's like big with trusting the process is like kind of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and that like what you do on a day-to-day basis is basically what are your habits, like what are your day-to-day habits. And I actually shout out to my coach Bartley. He has some of the guys on the team listening to an audio book of Atomic Habits. So it's like, you know, kind of telling you and guiding you on how to create, great habits. To you can either have habits that will make you, successful in 10 years, or, crash in 10 years,
Oh yeah.
our bottom. So
I think as soon as you get something into your routine, like if you pay attention to like your daily routine, a lot of times everyone's doing the same shit. Maybe a little bit different, but it's still your routine. So you just got to get it into your routine. And I always tell kids, like, do it for the first 2 weeks. Set a goal, just 2 weeks. Once you get into that 2 weeks, like, then it becomes your routine. 2-3 weeks, like, then it's like, it just naturally happens. Yeah. But you got to stay strict for those 2 weeks.
100%. So what do you think are your best habits?
Yeah.
And if you
never talk about myself in this way, so I don't know.
And also, what are some habits that you wish to like have in the future, like, Yeah,
I'd say my best habits, kind of just, I'd say honestly just being consistent. Like B sees it. Like I'm out on that turf all day. Like I hate sitting at a desk. Like that shit drives me up a wall. So like I make sure like I'm out there all day. If there's an athlete out there, like I'm helping them out. And then I'm just making sure like I'm constantly like doing my job. Like I walk into the gym every day and like this is just how I kind of walk in. Like I know I'm never gonna, like, not never, but it'd be very hard for me to get fired. But I walk in there every day like I might get fired today. So like I make sure like I give it everything I got like all day. Even when I'm yawning and like bent over because I'm just tired of standing. Like I probably stand 13, 14 hours a day. So like I just know I gotta just gotta keep going. So I feel like that's probably like my best habit is just Just keep going.
Relentless.
I like
Always
that.
out there,
Yeah.
Relentless.
I like that mentality. I might get fired today, so I gotta bring everything I have. I like
My
that.
cousin, shout out to my cousin. He's a strength coach down at FIU. But he has this quote, and he always constantly says it to his guys. It's get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like if you're comfortable somewhere, like you're gonna slip up. Like I personally always make sure, like I walk in that door, like, damn, I might get fired today. The director, when he calls me and like, yo, let's talk real quick. Like, damn, what did I do? Am I getting fired? Like I purposely make sure I'm never really fully comfortable, because that's when shit hits the fan.
So do you think when you're opening up your new spot, is that, I know that's obviously like a new setting. Obviously also going down south to open up your new spot, but like what in that sense is uncomfortable about that?
The amount of money that I gotta take care of. So when I first started looking at the process, like I was obviously breaking everything down, and I even told my girlfriend, like I tell that woman everything, every thought that goes through my head. She actually gets annoyed. She tells me to stop talking, but I just keep going. Knowing like that shit rides on my shoulders, like I love the pressure, but just thinking back, like, damn, like this shit fails, I'm out almost $500,000. So it's like, yo, like that's real money. Like obviously, like I use that shit as motivation, but like, God forbid, like another COVID happens, bro.
Yeah.
Whoever gives you that money, whether it's investors or the banks, like they don't give a shit that COVID happens. Like they need their money. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'd say that's the shit that always kind of rides on my shoulder. But like I said, like I like the pressure. Like obviously, if you got to think about something, like, damn, like this shit hits a fan. Like you got all that money just sitting on you.
So pressure either makes diamonds or bust pipes. Come on, B.
Hey, it's one or the other.
Simple.
Between.
I like it. All right, this is a controversial subject for Dana. We've talked about, we bring it up pretty often at AE. I'd say probably once every couple of weeks, or at least in October, November, it was coming up, is the MJ Bron comparisons. I think a lot of people, specifically myself, got a glimpse of the greatness of MJ when Last Dance came out. For people who didn't live through that era, obviously you did. More so than any of us, Colin or I, but it seemed hard to deny that MJ is just, I don't know, the GOAT as of now. But Dana has strong opinion on Bron being the GOAT. So justify that.
All right, so we'll break this down real quick. One of the biggest arguments for everyone, MJ's got 6 rings. Okay. First up, championships are won as a team, not individually. So that you can cancel that shit right out. And if you talk about rings, Bill Russell's got way more. Talk about different generations, MJ and LeBron are different generations. So wouldn't Russell be still considered the GOAT, even though it's, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't really play like the rings call because championships in different generations. MJ still doesn't have the most. And then when you really, really go down deep, and this is why, like, I think I said this to you, I didn't really fuck with The Last Dance. Like that actually rubbed me farther away from MJ. One, I know he's got the killer mentality. I know, like, I love that shit about him. Like, I grew up watching that. Like, this man literally in practice would talk shit to you, get in your face. Like, he was a dog. But he was also like an asshole off the court. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you look at the big picture for the greatest ever to do it, Brady was considered the greatest before he had his 6th ring. But Montana still had more rings than him. So it's like, if you look at the greatest, look at all the stats. LeBron is head over heels higher than MJ in every stat possible. He's in year, 18? And he just put up, 35 points?
Yeah.
He's playing better right now in year 18 than MJ. Like, LeBron's bigger, faster, stronger. He's now developed a 3-point shot, which he's actually pretty good at. Like, I'm not doubting MJ's greatness, but if there's someone that has surpassed him, it's LeBron. Like, what LeBron has done, and like everyone's like, well, he never really beat anyone. LeBron played the Pistons when he was 18, 19 years old with Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, and he knocked them out of the playoffs. Like, Ben Wallace was an absolute defensive mastermind, and LeBron beat him single-handedly. Like, when he went to the finals with, Zydrunas Ilgauskas?
Very
What the fuck is that? Yo, come on. Like, MJ did it with the greatest coach of all time. Literally, like, no one's close to Phil Jackson. No one's close. Scottie Pippen, who obviously you saw in the documentary, he was way more important than anyone actually really thought. And fucking Dennis Rodman. MJ went and looked through Vegas for Dennis Rodman because he knew he needed him. LeBron doesn't need anybody. He's done it with multiple organizations. He created the big three, but you needed that now. Like, nowadays, everyone's got a big three. So it's like you can't do it by yourself right now. MJ kind of had a big three with Pippen and Rodman. Steve Kerr was there. Like, MJ had way more tools than LeBron ever had. And there was a reason why, when they were about to get rid of Phil Jackson, MJ was saying, I'm not playing for someone else. He knew Phil Jackson left, MJ wasn't going back to the finals. You give LeBron, Phil Jackson, 12 championships, 13, 14. Like, LeBron went 8 straight finals. 8 straight. MJ had 2 3-peats. 8 straight. Winning a championship is a whole team thing. You play best of 7. Not one person is single-handedly winning an NBA championship by themselves. That's why you can't count the rings. You got to look at the stats. LeBron is going to be the number 1 scorer in the league in history. He's passing everyone else. He's up there for rebounds, steals, assists. He literally is a point guard at 6'9". Like, he can play every position. He's the greatest ever. And then MJ is right behind him. And then no one else is there for a couple feet.
Ooh, he was preparing that one.
Yeah, no,
Bro,
he had that.
me and my cousin have these arguments all the time. Like, I stand by my facts with the whole MJ LeBron debate. You can't count that as championships.
Okay.
So,
But I feel like to be the greatest, like, to be the best at anything, you have to be a winner. You know what I mean? I'm not saying LeBron isn't a winner, but I'm saying if you're winning championships, you have to realize that, like, even though it is a team sport, like, that has to weigh something on your greatness. The fact that when you've been to the finals, you haven't lost. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing.
If you do it like championships, were you calling Tom Brady the GOAT when he had 4 rings because of what he was doing in the playoffs and everything like that?
A lot of people are saying Aaron Rodgers might be better than Tom Brady these days, which is crazy. But people are saying that, and he only has 1 ring. So actually, that's your
rings.
Point.
Yeah, see, Con, you're justifying his point right now.
I am.
You're setting him up right now.
But, like, think about this. MJ lost in the first round. He got knocked out in the first round. LeBron, that has never happened with LeBron. That's what I'm saying. Championship. To get to a championship, you can rely on one person. We saw that with LeBron when he was in Cleveland the first time. You can get to a championship, but you can't win a championship not as a team.
Definitely. I agree with that. I'm not big on comparing greatness. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
yeah.
No, like, those two, there's
no
no one near those two. But, like, if you were to actually, like, just break it down, like, it will never, ever be solved because it's an opinion-based thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like, if you break it down, like, you got to go with the greatest of all time. Like, where is he at? Like, LeBron, playoff-wise, he's number 1 in almost every category in stats. Obviously, besides 3-pointers made, like, he ain't ever going to be up there. Like, that's just not him. But if you think about points, rebounds, assists, like, he's up there.
Yeah, no, he is.
Do you think it would be if MJ didn't go to the MLB for 2 years? 2 or 3 years?
2 years.
In the
Year
middle
and
of
a
It was
half.
2 years.
In the middle of
a little under 2 years.
Yeah. Do you think there would be any debate?
I mean, I think he might have a 7th ring. But
and he'd be number one all time.
Oh,
Like, if
MJ?
he had those 2 years back.
No, MJ's off like, I think he's off like 10,000 points.
No,
he's off.
No. He's off like
From Wilt?
6,000.
Oh,
Yeah, he's off a decent amount.
Kareem. Oh, Wilt's
Is it
number
Kareem?
Kareem's number one all time. I think Wilt's 2. Or no, is LeBron 2 now? I'm not sure.
LeBron's top 3 right now. I know he is.
I would have to check that, but I think MJ was like 32,000, and Kareem was 38. So probably would have had like 32,000 points if he averaged 2,000 points a year. If you average like
you have
30.
to play another 3-4 years.
Yeah, I know.
He just
like,
got
you can't hate on like that dog mentality, that killer mentality, that offensive like threat. Hey, MJ wins that. But this is why I say like the greatest of all time has got to be well-rounded. Like when you look at Tom Brady, hey, his completion percentage, touchdowns, everything, like he's up there in the top of every category. When you look at MJ, he's not up there in every category. Like he's a lot lower than where people would think.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm going shot on the line and it's a game winner, I'm taking MJ. But if I'm starting a franchise going through a season, I'm taking LeBron all day.
It's fair. I'd say, LeBron impacts the game probably in more ways, but MJ was unbelievable defender. Although LeBron was too, but MJ was like, people sleep on fair. He was like probably the best defender in the league when in his prime years.
Hey, he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, no, he was dominant. All right, well, to go from greatness, obviously all-time greatness, to who are the best clients you've had the chance to work with, man, woman, whatever, where you're just like I don't, what do I tell these people? Like they got it.
So I try and never like gas someone up. Like you've even seen like,
yeah.
I don't give out like compliments that much. Like I just like keep going. Like some people get complacent with compliments, but for females, honestly, I had to say my girlfriend. Like, and I had always told myself I'm never breaking this rule. But like she came to me when she was playing for the professional soccer team, the women's league, and she was playing for the Boston team. So she had started training with me. And the very first day I took her on the treadmill and we were doing intervals. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna see what this girl's got. Like I actually, when I tell you I've never pushed someone harder in my life, I tried to physically break this girl. But she kept hitting the same mark for all. Yeah, I put her through 10 intervals. B, you know what those are. I put her through 10 with bare minimum rest. And this girl kept going. I'm like, damn, this girl's got it. So I guess like I trained her, like keeping it professional, everything like that. And then as she was about to go to Europe, I just said she had stopped training with me. I'm like, yo, fuck you trying to get dinner. Like, I was like, and that's kind of how that shit, like her dog mentality, like she was a killer. So like I always had to find new ways to push her because she always either mastered that form and started getting easy for her, but she always always excelled no matter what I was giving her. I would say for men, I don't know, I kind of go 2 different ways. So I have this kid that no one has ever seen unless you've been in there late at night. Kid, Jacob Green. This kid doesn't play a sport, doesn't do nothing. But he's one of my favorite because I don't have to talk sports to him. He doesn't want to talk sports. This kid wants to talk like Doctor Strange or like Marvel characters or like video games. And I'm like, for 1 hour of my day, I shut my brain off and don't talk sports. So like, I really enjoy that like hour with that kid. He's not the best athlete. He's just a normal person. But for 1 hour of my day, I can shut my brain off and actually just like go back to like being a kid when I used to play video games. Like I can talk video games with this kid. And like, we kind of play like the similar video games. So like, it was very, very easy to talk to this kid. Athletically, I'd have to say either the kid Mike O'Keefe out of Wakefield or my guy Greg Rogers. Just this stuff I've been through hell and back with Mike. So that kid, he was like one of my first people I ever trained there. But Greg, I can just show him a video, say, hey, can you do this? And he says, yeah, hold on, give me a second. Within 2 tries, he can do any movement I've ever given him. I tried putting his foot into a TRX strap and telling him to explode up and then go into an explosive single leg box jump. And he did it first try. I'm like, damn. So like he's arguably the number 1 decathlon athlete in the country when he graduated. But that actually forces me to kind of challenge myself. It's like, I know if I get complacent with his movements, then he's going to get complacent. So that challenges me to keep excelling because I keep trying to find new movements that he can't do, or he can't do the first 2 tries he gets it. So I think those 3 for guys, those ones really like, and they all have their different reasons.
Yeah, I like that.
It's hard to pick just one.
Yeah, right. I know you've worked with so many. It's crazy. So you're more inclined to, like, what's the switch between, well, what's the biggest difference between, obviously me as a basketball player, and then you work with a lot of football guys. What's the biggest difference between those type of the training that goes into each of those?
I would say the actual lifting aspect of it. Not in terms like you can't lift like what they lift, but they're purposely trying to get as big as possible, as strong as possible. Basketball, you got to kind of teeter that line of, all right, we can't screw up your jump shot. We can't screw up your dribbling, but still find ways to maximize your strength, maximize your explosiveness. In seasons, obviously you're jumping all day at practice, so you got to kind of try and limit the jumping. And I'm saying, so it's kind of, I think basketball players are more fun to work with because you have to kind of, it's not just, oh, let's go bench, let's just go squat, let's go deadlift. Like, all right, let's do movements that are actually going to benefit him where he can still maximize his strength, but he's not trying to blow up and look like a bodybuilder.
Right.
Like if you can train football, like kudos, like that's not that hard. But like when you start going into like basketball, baseball, lacrosse, like all different movements where they're not trying to be as big as possible. Like you got to make sure they're functional. They still got to be explosive. They still can't, their shot can't be altered. So it's like more in detail for like every other sport.
It feels like more of a challenge, no?
Yeah. Like I think, in my opinion, arguably baseball is definitely the hardest because you have so much to deal with, like the shoulder, the elbow, how much like rotational torque someone's got, like that for me, like especially more so the shoulder and the elbow, just because of how much they're throwing the rotator cuff. Like you got to pay way more attention to their movements, how they're doing it. They aren't supposed to be getting bigger. Like they still get big, but like they're not crushing bench press for 4 or 5 sets. Like that just, like you're going to screw up their mechanics, everything about them.
Yeah.
It's like they're more fine tuning and like you got to play around with some things.
All right, C-Mac, you got anything else?
Yo, B, we'll give a little background to this. So my dad was in the car. Your dad's like, oh, I got this podcast going. Need some good questions to ask some people. Need some ideas. And he was like, look, the people that I meet, he's a businessman. So when he meets new people, he asks, one of his favorite questions to ask is, if I find you in a bookstore, what part of the bookstore?
What section?
Like what section would I find you in?
So I actually was at Barnes and Noble's a couple weeks ago, and I was getting a gift from my brother's girlfriend, and my girlfriend was there with me. So I'm like, yo, you go. She knows it. She knows her way around the bookstore way more than me. But she kind of just went off, and I'm like, all right, well, she's gonna go off. Like I'm gonna kind of drift my way, and right away, right to the sports section. Like I'm reading a book right now about Tim Tebow and like his life growing up and everything he went through, which obviously is a phenomenal book. If you guys,
Yeah, what's it called?
are looking for something, grab it for you. Hold up.
I'm a big reader. Read more books.
Read more, but we need an MTD Read More Books t-shirt.
Yeah, we do.
Let's see right here.
All right. I'll add that to the list.
That's it.
Sure.
By Tim Tebow. He wrote
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's literally like his documentary. So it goes from his childhood, everything in the Philippines that he had gone through, being homeschooled, his recruiting process. Like it, I'd always followed him when I was growing up. Like he's arguably my favorite athlete of all time. So I'd followed him all through high school, like college. But it's good to kind of see if everything he went through, like through his point of view. So he had a documentary made on him. And he actually didn't like the documentary because of the title that the person chose. It was Tim Tebow, the chosen one. Like he personally, like he talks about in the book, like he's a very humble guy. So like he didn't want like that title, but he's just like, whatever, like it is what it is. And tried to like just kind of brush it off and just act as if that wasn't, and just kind of stay himself. So it's good to kind of see it from his point of view and everything that he went through. And then I got a book on Les Miles and Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer to Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, he's trying to bring in all his old coaches. Gonna get a college atmosphere in Jacksonville.
Yeah, geez.
Something they need to change something up.
Oh, yeah, it's a dumpster fire down there. That place is terrible.
Oh boy. All right. We good, Colin? Anything else? I think we tapped on.
I got another one. Yo, so when we go there early to AE in the morning, the music is always bumping in there.
Always. It is.
So you're always listening to music, I assume. I mean, since you're always in there. So real quick, what are 3 songs or 2? It doesn't matter how many songs, but what are a couple songs that really like represent or like parallel with like your life journey? Like that, if you could make like a life playlist, what are a couple of songs that would be in it for sure?
So like my all-time favorite song is Mr. Carter, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z. Like I think that's like, that is the greatest song of all time. And that's just my opinion.
Fire.
Honestly, I really started fucking with Lil Baby like recently, and Emotionally Scarred. Like everyone's kind of like, just listen at that title, like everyone's kind of been through some shit that like no one really knows, and like it's just kind of like emotionally scarred you. Like you don't have physical scars, you don't have nothing like that, but like in your head, like you've been through some shit.
Definitely.
And then Blue Notes by Meek. I fuck with that song. I fuck with the beat.
Wow.
I think that song's tough. Like when I actually 3 years ago when I bought my car, that was the first song that I played. Like I had finally got like the GPS in the dash. Like I had finally got like a real nice car, and my first song was Blue Notes because like I just how that song hits, like the beat. I think I love the beat. I love the lyrics.
Wow, that was a great answer.
I thought about that one. I'm a big music guy.
Yes, you are. We have talked about this. He's not a fan of Drake.
Wow.
No. I'm a Meek guy, so I gotta take Meek over Drake. The Drake thing, like I saw him on Degrassi, so like I can't take him serious. Like that's just like when I was in like middle school, like Degrassi was like the shit you watched, and like girls loved him, and I'm like, dude, like I literally saw you on like a little kid's show. Like how are you gonna now be like a gangbanger, like talking about like selling drugs and like being this hard guy? Like I literally watched you on like a girl show. Like it's just like I feel like for me, I just can't take him serious.
I can see that. Honestly, I never saw an episode of that. I've never watched it.
Yeah,
it's like
until I knew
Drake. I compare it to like the Laguna Beach, like some shit like that. Like that's kind of like where I'd picture Drake when we were younger. Like it's kind of like a similar situation like that. Like it's just like a girl show. Yeah, those three songs, like even when I drive to work in the morning, like if you've ever been in a car with me, like I bump music the whole time. Like I don't want to talk. Don't talk to me. Let me bump my shit. Like so usually when it's not COVID, I'll do 5 a.m. workouts on Friday, and I don't drink coffee, nothing. I just turn on some Meek Mill and I put that shit up, and that's how I get my day started. Like that shit's gonna wake me up. Like Meek and Ace Hood like get me going no matter what song it is.
Hood, wow, that's a name I've heard in a while. Wow, that's
He's one of my favorites. I don't really like the new school rap. Like I said, I just started fucking with Lil Baby. I started listening to Russ a little bit. Like I kind of like his lyricism. Like I put him with like J. Cole, Kendrick. Like they're speaking more bars and shit like that than actually just sitting behind a beat and just like just making nonsense back there.
Russ is slept on.
He slept on. I fuck with Russ heavy.
Me too. Fuck with him.
All right, well that about wraps it up. I think we got to everything. Dana, appreciate you coming on. This was a great epi.
Oh yeah.
We'd be sure to get you back on in the future, and
Of course.
everyone
Yeah,
tap in. Well, Dana's as good as it gets in the strength and conditioning business. So we'll
so that's a wrap.
yeah, appreciate everyone.
you guys.
Tune in. Take care.